Kia ora, very good evening to you. Welcome to Trust Arena in Waitakere, Tamaki Makaurau for some Saturday night hoops from the South's NBL showdown. Starting with an all-South Island battle between the Nelson Giants and the Canterbury Rams. Lots of team news to get into tonight. Hugh Bainan here alongside 120-time Tall Black and 4-time New Zealand NBL champion, Casey Frank. Good evening, Casey. Another interesting point to this game, Casey. This is numbers 6 and 7 on the ladder, and if things continue like this and it stands this way as we head into finals week, it will be the first elimination game of finals week. So plenty to think about as these two teams go toe-to-toe tonight. Let's have a look at the roster for the Nelson Giants, shall we? As they warm up on the left side of your screen. Number 14 there, Mika Vukona, making his first appearance in the South's NBL for 2020, 20 years after he made his debut for the Nelson Giants. He'll start off the bench tonight, along with Mike Karina, who returns from injury, starting for the Giants tonight. Tyson, Ayolopatia, Tom Ingham, Zeb Lovell, Josh Ledger, and Dane Brooks. Let's hear from Coach Michael Fitchett.
Starting with yourself, it must be great to welcome not only Mike Karina back from injury, but Mika Vukona. Rumor has it he's going to be suiting up today.
Yeah, he got through training on Friday, that's yesterday I think, and came up pretty well with not too much soreness. Mika, on his scale, it's not too bad, so he'll come off the bench for us tonight and we'll give him limited minutes, ease him back into it, but we'll see how he goes. I'm sure he'll do some wild stuff.
Holding the 39, that's great. But on another note, unfortunately for the Rams, they've got a little bit of injury bug themselves. Taylor Britt not playing tonight. How do you think that's going to change the way they play, and how will you be able to take advantage?
Yeah, I don't think it'll change the way they play. It's hard to change on the fly for one game, but Taylor's been awesome at this tournament, a real standout at the point guard position. So obviously that helps us. I'm going to take that every day of the week. But feel sorry for Mick. We've both had the injury bug and we've both been bitten pretty hard. So feeling for him, but yeah, we'll roll out there. I'm sure they'll play Ruben a little bit more and have him at the ball in his hands a little bit more. So that presents its own issues.
It certainly does. Ruben Tarangi making his third start for the Canterbury Rams. As we have a look at their roster ahead of tonight's game against their rivals, the Nelson Giants. Starting for them, Sam Smith, Ruben Tarangi, Ben Carlisle-Smith, Quinton Bailey and Alex Tauma, with no Taylor Britt out with the elbow injury suffered in their last game. Let's hear from the Rams coach, Mick Downer.
And to begin with, unfortunately, Taylor Britt out with an injury. How long do you expect him to be gone, and how will that affect the Rams tonight?
Well, hopefully he's only out for maybe the next week. We'll just see as it gets closer to, I think we play Wednesday next, so 50-50 there. But, we just got to make the best hand with the cards we've been dealt. So, unfortunately, it's been a bit BS, some of the cards that we've been dealt. So, but I better be careful. If I get in trouble, might need some help with the lawyers, and the lawyers I would call would be Greenwood and Roach lawyers. Thank you very much for your help. But no, in all seriousness, hopefully we get him back, and then at least we've got 1 or 2 games leading into the playoffs so we can kind of get into a bit of a rhythm. We've also got Ruben and Toby. We're still trying to build up minutes-wise, so the roster's a little bit disruptive still.
Well, speaking of a roster in flux, you're looking at the Giants tonight, who has also been stricken by the injury bug. Supposedly Mika Vukona might be available tonight. How much will that change their approach to that team?
I think it's great if he plays. It's great for the league. So it was really unfortunate that he, every injury and issue that he had before he could play. So, one of New Zealand's all-time GOATs, to be able to put on a jersey and play, I think it'll be great for our young guys to compete against that. So, the message from our guys will be, if you want to win respect of great players, you've got to get out there and compete against them. So what an awesome way to do it. I'm just glad he might be a little bit rusty, but he's got all 5 fouls to use, so he'll be right.
Coach McDonough there from the Canterbury Rams. Yes, one of New Zealand's all-time greats. Mika Vukona, 162 times he's pulled on the black singlet, 151 of them in tests, and a fair few of them alongside you, Casey Frank.
Yeah, most definitely. It was great to see him coming back into it. An unbelievable teammate, and just his presence is going to lift the play of these younger Nelson Giants, and it's good to see Mika Vukona back where he belongs, in the Nelson Giants blue. Although it is in Waitakere, it still works.
Certainly does. As we get underway on some Saturday night basketball. Some pretty young starting fives out there. Here's Tyson Ayoloputia to get us underway. Nelson Giants have the first possession, going from right to left on your screens. In blue, Canterbury Rams in their clean whites, going from left to right. As Ayoloputia shimmies through the lane, but he can't finish and commits a foul trying to get the rebound.
But Tyson Ayoloputia just has such a nice feel for the game on his penetrations. It's something that would be very difficult to coach into a player, that sort of that knowledge and that feel for the space that he can create. He got through it really nicely with the dribble. Unfortunately missed it, but I've really enjoyed watching him play and take on a lot more responsibility than I think Mike Fitchett thought he was going to have prior to the season beginning.
Quinton Bailey looks for Ruben Tarangi, finds him, and he finishes through a tough challenge of Josh Ledger.
And I really like that play call for Ruben Tarangi. The way that you set it up for the curl, and then Tarangi can come off that, attacking the basket, being aggressive, and not have to reset going away from it.
Ingham pulls up from the decal, rolls out. Second rebound of the night for Alex Talma. Ben Carlisle-Smith ahead to his right. He finds him, and he finishes off the glass.
Oh, really nice catch and finish by Ben Carlisle-Smith, who's shown a lot of high-level athleticism on the wing in his opportunities.
Here's Dane Brooks just skipping through the lane, but a little bit too strong on the finish. Quinton Bailey brings it the other way for the Rams.
3 great looks for the Giants, unable to convert any of them, but got to be pleased with the plays.
Talma goes up with the left hand after the spin, and it rolls around the rim before dropping.
Well, the Rams converting everything. The Giants playing solid offense as well, but not able to convert. And that percentage, that closing percentage, is what's separating these teams in the 6-point game right now.
Here's Ingham. Just gets it stripped there from Sam Smith, who's pass from Tarangi is a little bit ahead of him. So Ayoloputia brings it the other way. Well, hesitation. Looks for someone to drop it off to. He finds Dane Brooks, who drops it in for the first points for the Giants.
Well, Tyson Ayoloputia really does a nice job of keeping his eyes up, surveying, even though he's under the basket. And Dane Brooks with a timely cut to the basket for the finish.
Here's Tarangi. Puts Ingham on his back and then goes to work on Ledger. Gets his own rebound.
Really strong move to get to the cup and then finishes it up by picking it up at the O board.
Smith rips through, tries to go past Brooks, and he banks it in.
Showed a nice sense of balance there where he regathered after some contact, went off the one leg, but really grounded in his positioning for the finish.
Seven Lovell goes on the big Ledger screen. Here's Tom Ingham. He's got Tarangi on him. So he finds Dane Brooks. 7 on the shot clock. Contested three-pointer from Brooks. Tarangi palms it off to Talma, who shoots a 3, and he gets nothing out of that one.
Well, good look. I think he just caught it in the wrong spot, so it didn't feel quite as good leaving his hand as it probably should have.
Lovell finds Ayoloputia. Here he is, driving, looking for that favoured right-hand floater. Instead, he finds Josh Ledger, shoots a three-pointer, big rebound from Brooks.
Solid activity on the glass by Dane Brooks.
Ingham. Ooh, got Quinton Bailey up in the air, but Bailey recovered well, only to foul.
Very clean with the basketball. I think a little bit of body contact, and regardless of your size, when you're blocking a shot from behind, you have to be so careful of any kind of contact because it's so obvious to the officiating crew when you do get that hit from behind. Regardless, Tom Ingham's off to the line and looks to try and find himself a little bit of rhythm for some free throws.
Makes his first. Alex McNaught into the game.
And this Nelson team is truly a different animal when Ingham can score at a high clip. If he's hitting some big threes, getting himself up over 20 points, they become a much more dynamic offensive team, and that's exactly what they need since, for the most part, they're lacking with wing scorers in terms of consistency.
Smith. Bailey, after some good off-the-ball work, fires back out to Talma. Turn down the open three-pointer. 2 on the shot clock, has to go up, and that's a foul from Tyson Ayoloputia.
Nice move by Ben Carlisle-Smith with the shot clock going down, but Alex Talma needs to keep that confidence up in that jumper. Gets the wide open catch, missed the first one, so he turned down the second. And that's really a shot he should feel really comfortable taking. We spoken to McDonough. He had a tour of Australia early this year in January before all of the COVID mess. And in a game, he had 6 threes in one game. You're not going to get confidence in that shot until you start letting it fly.
Franklin Bulls taking on the Otago Nuggets later tonight. As Jack Exeter checks into the game. Here's Iolupatia. Young backcourt alongside Alex McNaught. But Mike Karina into the game for his first action since an ankle injury. Oh, Iolupatia off the glass.
Really nice finish there. Coming in, avoiding the contact and the kiss. His finishing off the glass is ages beyond his age. Foul there. Not sure if it's on the big or it is on Tyson Iolupatia. Getting caught from behind. Unfortunately, his second. So he might be heading to the bench reasonably soon. As in maybe now.
Nick Trayton getting ready for the Giants.
And with the return of Mika Vukona, I think the guy who is most going to benefit for that is Nick Trayton. I think Mika Vukona being able to set some down screens, possibly some dribble handoffs, some DHO action. It's going to really open up some scoring opportunities for Trayton, who's had defenders really draped all over him. He's been asked to create offense on his own with the ball in hand, which I don't think he's necessarily not skilled at, but I don't think that is his preferred. I'd much rather see him as a guy catching and finishing.
Good pressure from the Rams, and it results in a turnover. And nearly 2 points to Sam Smith, but rolls off the rim into the arms of Tom Ingham.
Alex McNaught, solid defense there.
Zeb Lovell did the hard part, but couldn't finish at the rim. So Webley looks up just in time to receive that pass. Smith. So Toby Galuli into the game as his minutes look set to increase as he comes back from injury. Here's Nick Trayton, his first touch of the ball, pulls up from mid-range, high bank, rebound, Karina. Ingham for three. Down there goes Tom Ingham.
Well, you love an offensive rebound kick out to the three-point shooter. It's one of the hardest tasks in basketball to go from rebounding to defending that three-point line, and that time, Ingham got the reception.
Well, Jack Exeter did well on the drive. Luckily, Tom Webley was there to clean it up.
Well, it looks a little bit like Mike Karina gave up on the play, and Tom Webley just kept attacking. Thought it was a short make, but he didn't give up on it anyway, and gets 2 points for the reward.
Ingham to Trayton from the corner. Another offensive board for Mike Karina. He spins, and he's fouled. He'll go to the line to Mike Karina.
Mike Karina with the offensive rebound, playing himself. Second offensive rebound in limited minutes, but after the catch, shows the deft footwork with the spin move baseline to receive that foul and head to the free throw line as the Giants looking actually scoring the basketball today. It's amazing what happens when they get all their players back. Makes things a little bit easier. But I'm surprised you're speaking so well and clearly during this game without Mika Vukona getting checked in. I thought you'd be on pins and needles until he got in the game.
Might fit shit. I know we chatted to him before tip-off, said he's going to inject Mika sort of towards the end of the first, let him play the end of the first, the start of the second. Here's Tom Webley. Big assignment for him with the much more experienced and equally as big Mike Karina.
Nice drive there by Quentin Bailey. Putting it on the floor, attacking on the rim, really using his athleticism. And liking him as he gets more comfortable within this Rams offense.
Zeb Lovell drops it into Karina, who's in good position up with the right hand, but a little short with the baby hook.
Webley, just enough length to contest that and force a miss.
Galuli gets the pass through to Sam Smith. Oh, Karina comes round the side of young Webley, looking to go all the way. Mike Karina, good hand from Sam Smith. Karina sticks to it, eventually loses the ball to a Ram.
Wow, good fight back by the Rams to get back into the play. get a couple of blocks as we see Nick Trathan with the good hands in transition to force a steal.
Well, McNaught is fouled, and the basket won't count.
Well, I think a little unfortunate there. It looked like he picked it up as soon as the whistle was blown, in step and made it, but doesn't get that benefit of the doubt. But a nice heads-up play regardless, as Theo Johnson checks into the game for Zeb Level.
Brooks will inbound. He finds Karina. Faces up to Webley, puts it on the floor. Is surrounded by Rams immediately, so he has to reset through McNaught. 4 on the shot clock. McNaught shoots from mid-range. Who's going to get the rebound? It will be Ruben Tarangi, who's back in the game for Canterbury. Here is Tarangi round the back to the hoop, and 2 points for Tarangi as Mika Vicona gets ready to check into his first bit of action in 2020.
Ruben Tarangi, such a gifted athlete and really strong player for the wing. Has the strength to guard 4s and 5s, but the quickness and agility to be out there on the wing.
McNaught fires it back to Theo Johnson. Oh, Jack exited that. Knew what was happening there, and he read it wonderfully.
Theo Johnson didn't survey the defense, just determined where he was going to pass it to. Wanted to get it into Karina, but didn't see Exeter just sagging off that wing, opening opportunities for Dame Brooks in the three-point line.
Here's Karina to young Alex McNaught, wearing Josh Bloxham's jersey, who's out injured. 6 on the shot clock. McNaught finds a bit of space, finds Trathan, who has to shoot it. He does. Rebound, Alex Towner eventually.
Well, defenders of the Rams forcing the Giants out of their preferred offensive spots and really making them use a whole lot of shot clock. Possession after possession.
Ruben Tarangi calls for it back. 4 seconds on the shot clock. Drives into the lane, takes contact, and is fouled with less than a second on the shot clock. He'll go to the line.
But really like the leadership from Ruben Tarangi there. You see Tom Webley was coming out to set the on-ball on Tarangi as we see a timeout to the Nelson Giants to discuss things. But Ruben Tarangi, he just gives a yell to Tom Webley, get in the post. You got the mismatch. McNaught's guarding you. What are you doing? And once he realized there wasn't enough time left for him to get the ball and have him make a solid move, he puts his head down, drives, and gets to the foul line regardless.
18-11, the Rams lead the Giants. In the bottom of the ladder clash. But there's not much between 1 and 7 on the ladder. Although, Casey, this thing has gone pretty fast. We're approaching the end of the 4th week with only 1 more week of regular season, as it were, to go before finals week starts on the 28th of July. So this is where posturing for position becomes increasingly important.
Most definitely. I think all the teams want to opt out of those bottom 2 spots. You don't want to be in the single elimination final right off the bat. And certainly you do want to get up there into those top 2 spots where you get that second chance opportunity where you can get a loss and you still get to play again. Of course, Taranaki right now sitting up there. The Bulls and the Otago Nuggets later tonight will be playing for one of those top 2 spots as well. And that second chance life, so important when only 1 game can eliminate you.
Mika Vicona out on the floor for the Nelson Giants, wearing his famed number 14 that we expect to see hanging from the rafters at the Trafalgar Centre in the hopefully distant future.
The distant? Well, whenever he chooses to let them put him up there, I think that is when it happens. Of course, he spent a season up in Manawatu as well,
and
playing for the Jets.
And Auckland, playing for the Super City Rangers.
As well as Harbour, had a year there. So maybe the Giants are kind of mad at him still.
There's never more than 1 or 2 seasons away from his beloved Nelson. First rebound for Vicona, of course, is the Breakers' leading all-time rebounder.
Oh, really nice thought on the pass, but Trathan not expecting it, so it didn't get to the hands.
Tarangi for 3. Rebound Vicona.
Well, he's been up and down for 2 trips, 2 rebounds. That's about right for a big mix.
Here's a stat for you, Casey. Mika Vicona made his debut for the Nelson Giants before 6 of the Canterbury Rams tonight were born.
Well, that's exactly when you feel like you have fresh legs, as we see the Dane Books drive to the cup. Tom Webley's one of those. I'm sure Jack Exeter would be one of those. Mason Whitaker. Those are 3 of them I can think of. Carlisle Smith.
Webley spinning and finding Alex Talma nicely. He just couldn't finish Talma, but he does well to corral the board. Here he is from mid-range. Down that goes, 2 points, Alex Talma.
Yeah, it does. Thinking about that, playing with guys that much younger than you, I remember when Ty Wynyard first made the Tall Blacks. He was on the team. I think he was 17 years old, 16 years old. I had a pair of socks that had been in my possession longer than he was alive.
Theo Johnson gets Webley to bite in the air. In the end, he shoots a little bit short. Tratham tried to deflect it in, but couldn't. And that'll do us for the first quarter, which snuck up on the Canterbury Rams. They lead 22-13. And not that the Nelson Giants, Casey, aren't getting shots. They're just missing some early looks.
They've had a lot of great looks. Really pretty judicious with the shot selection. Just got to get some of those down. 4 for 17 from the field in the first quarter.
22-13, the Rams lead the Giants. Second quarter coming up after the break.
Hi, I'm Dave Meltzer, co-founder of Sports One Marketing, and I've teamed with one of the biggest sports agents in the world, Bruce Tollner, and we are going to put on a series of how to have a career in sports. Join me at trainedbymiyagi.com.
Welcome back. Mick Downer talking to his young Chargers. They lead the Nelson Giants 22-13 due the Canterbury Rams after 1 quarter of action.
And boy, do you got to feel for these 2 teams. They have been well and truly bitten by the injury bug up to this point in the season. This is the very first time we've seen anywhere close to near full strength team for the Giants. Of course, they're still not full strength. Josh Bloxham still out with concussion. And just when we thought the Rams were bringing things back, they brought back Galuli. They brought back Ruben Terengi. Well, now Taylor Britt, the heart and soul, the straw that stirs the drink for the Rams. Now he's out for hopefully just a short time, being tonight, possibly a little bit longer. But with just one last week of regular season basketball, it does not leave a lot of time for these teams to gel with the lineups, with whatever the preferred lineups end up being.
Well, Kevin Braswell and the Auckland Huskies will be watching on intently tonight. Both these teams play the Huskies next.
And of course, bad news in the injury front for the Huskies as well, with Tane Murray out with an injury to his hand.
Good hand for Vicona just to disrupt Alex Talma's
Look at
spin there.
Mika Vicona. I just love watching Mika play. He's always just so good in the right spots.
Oh, Tarangi right on the shot clock buzzer finishes.
Delay a game. Warning on Ruben Terengi for running into Mika Vicona as he's trying to take the ball out. But Mika Vicona gets the block, makes the shot, already a couple rebounds. Took him 8 seconds to get his first rebound in the ball game.
Here he is, going to work on Alex Talma. Up on the right hand, off the backboard. The first points for Mika Vicona in 2020.
And just loves that fake handoff. Enables him to create so much space. And solid with the jump hook off the glass.
Tarangi. And Mika Vicona defending here. Max Stoddard into the game. He misses his first shot from three-point land, and Dane Brooks brings it up. Vukona calls for it. Straight over to Trathan. Gets it back from Trathan. Takes contact and finishes.
Well, just having Mika Vukona on the court, the ball is moving so much more freely as we see Trathan almost get the steal. But his presence, his leadership has already changed things for this Giants lineup.
Stoddard. Exeter steps back into a three-pointer. Drains it. Jack Exeter.
Well, poor defense there by the Giants, losing track of a shooter at the top. Pretty easy offense done.
Vukona across the key to Brooks. Misses, gets his own rebound, and then travels.
Dane Brooks gets called for the travel after grabbing his own board. Thought there might have been a little bit of contact that might have caused that one.
Kadina comes into the game as Vukona and Trathan take a seat. Of course, if and when the Giants get to a point where they can roll out both Vukona and Kadina at the same time, it'll be one of the more fearsome front courts. As finals week approaches, Alex Talma, good defense from Kadina, who gets the rebound and finds his point guard. Oh, Alex Talma read that well, but Tyson Aolopatia dives on the loose ball, finds Theo Johnson. He bundles into the lane. Offensive board, Kadina, up he goes. 2 points for the Giants.
Well, just a hustling, grinding possession. First, Tyson Aolopatia dives on the ball to keep the turnover from occurring, and then Kadina with the offensive board work and the finishing.
Talma pulls up confidently from the decal, but comes off the back line, and Dane Brooks brings the ball up for the Giants as Sam Smith just gone down clutching something. Just did not look too pretty for Sam Smith.
He's gone
twisted
quick.
his knee as he turned defensively.
Still grabbing his knee, which is unfortunate. Let's see how ginger he is when he walks off the court. No, they got guys carrying him off. This is a bad sign here. Not sure if there was sweat on the floor. Didn't actually see it myself. I was looking at the basket, unfortunately. But I hate to see something like that. And certainly hate to see a player have to not be able to go off the court under his own power. Physio over there having a look at him now.
Well, we mentioned how unlucky these two teams have been with injuries, and that's the last thing anyone wanted to see. Another injury for the Canterbury Rams, Sam Smith.
Sam Smith, the player who's really played well in the last couple of weeks, was outstanding offensively, and his last night out against the Nuggets, finding a lot of activity. He's been confident in the three-point stroke as well as driving to the basket. And he's really been able to develop his offensive game and what he was delivering to the Rams, and since we saw the absence of Toby Galuli. So certainly hoping that nothing serious for him right now.
He's been a stalwart for the Rams so far in this competition, averaging around 29 minutes a game, 12.5 points, to go with just under 5 rebounds as well. So that'll be a big loss for at least what I think will be the rest of this game, Casey.
Yeah, it doesn't look super promising over there. He's with the physio looking at him. They might be taping something up right now, which would be nice to see.
Dane Brooks misses his first from the line. But makes his second.
Dane Brooks has been a miss one, hit one kind of guy this whole league so far, whether it's from three, whether it's from the free throw line. One time looks so pure, other times it can look very off.
Here's Toby Galuli driving, getting his own board though, and he'll go to the line to shoot 2, having been fouled.
Well, good strong move with a quick rip through onto the baseline. He gets Tommingham onto his hip. Couldn't make the shot, but sticks with it, gets the offensive rebound out of Mike Karena's hands, and is able to go up to get the foul. And of course, Toby Galuli, another guy who is working his way back from injury, trying to find the minutes up, and Speaking to Coach McDonough before the game, he was hoping to have all next week to get that rhythm going into the finals. But now he's hoping for maybe 2 of the games next week. He might have it if Taylor Brick can come back.
Well, and whatever happens to Sam Smith as well, as Dane Brooks tucks it under his arm, drives, just couldn't get the finish to sneak over the hoop. There's Galuli coming the other way. Karina in his way. Rebound Ingham, who's fouled by Jack Exeter.
Well, you're often talking about the speculative shots there, Hugh. That was a speculative reach by Jack Exeter. Hopeful for the swipe, but allows the defenders to get set up into this, it looks like a little pseudo pressure.
Ayo Lopatia has grown in confidence as this competition has gone on. The 18-year-old barks the orders, and there's that right-handed floater just off this time, and Galudi gets the board.
A lot of confidence in that shot, and it goes in much more often than it misses.
Exeter drops it into Bailey. Karina so strong, just dislodges the ball with body contact almost.
Gives a little shoulder as Bailey's trying to get across.
Ingham tries to bullet pass it across the key, but hits the bottom of the... Oh, there's the other shoulder for you, Quentin Bailey.
I actually think that might have been the same shoulder. This one, a little bit more obvious of a foul, as Quentin Bailey's driving in the open court, and Mike Carrena just smashes into him. But good, solid professional foul. Way to stop the break. Keep the Giants within 9 points.
Carrena takes the seat. Josh Ledger comes back into the game. Here's Galuli. Quentin Bailey just pushed by Ledger, who fouled out of the last game.
Josh Ledger's a player I've really liked watching develop. He's straight out of high school, hopeful to head to the university and play some basketball. Any scouts are up late watching this one. Need a big man. He's going to go out there and throw things around. He's a big fellow with a nice shooting touch, but he's obviously a player with a lot of strength and has a higher level of skill than you would have thought for someone his age.
Here's Exeter trying to sell a foul as he went up for the shot. Doesn't get the points or the whistle as Ayo Lopatia comes the other way. He steps through, just the ball, loses the ball as it squeezes out of his hands.
Looked like a soap squeeze there that just popped right out when you least expected it.
Exeter shoots from the wing, off the back iron, straight into the hands of Webley. And here's Galuli for 3. That one goes.
Well, that was a poor box out by the Giants. They didn't make contact with Tom Webley. Josh Ledger attacked the rim instead of boxing out his man, and for that reason, Webley got the rebound and the assist.
Ayo Lopatia finds Ingham. The baseline opens up for him, but Webley was waiting there. Nice finish from Tom Ingham.
Using that left hand to clear out nicely does Tom Ingham, creating the space to get the finish over the 6'10", 6'11 Webley. Not sure exactly how tall, but he's tall.
Galuli backing down Ingham, spinning a little bit too far onto the baseline and putting himself behind the backboard. Ledger looks for help, finds it through his point guard. Nice pass from Ayo Lopatia to Zeb Lovell.
Well, excellent post up by Lovell, but better vision by Tyson Ayo Lopatia, being able to see that on the catch and feed it to him instantly for the assist.
Here's Cowie. 10 seconds on the shot clock. He flings it out to Exeter, who catches and shoots from the wing. Well, that one went almost all the way in before it came out. Toby Galudi there to get the offensive board and 2 points. Oh, a big screen off the ball as Tom Ingham goes sliding along the hardwood. And it's Quentin Bailey who's called for the foul.
Tom Ingham, not just a scorer, he's going to put his body on the line to get some of his teammates open as well. And although not the most offensively successful quarter for the Giants, I think Coach Mike Fitchett has to be pretty pleased with the level of execution. He's trying to still work in some guys, bring a couple guys back from injury and see how they're going, but expect an improved second half. I think the Giants might close this gap a little bit before halftime as well.
Vukona back into the game for the Giants. Tarangi back in for the Rams.
Mika Vukona, once again.
Pass just a little bit too strong, though, to young Tyson Lupatia.
Well, Mika Vukona didn't get the offensive rebound, but he took 2 Rams defenders out chasing the ball, enabling the Giants to grab it. Nice swing pass, but it does take a little bit of getting used to catching those one-handed whips from Mika Vukona.
Carlisle Smith looks to drop it into Webley, but there's Vukona.
He is everywhere. Are you sure this guy doesn't have an appendix anymore?
He's appendix free. As Trathan drives in aggressively. That goes around the whirligig before dropping.
Nice aggressive move off the pass fake. And shows a soft touch with the toilet bowl finish.
Galuli wide open for 3. This one doesn't go, and Trathan gets the board. Vukona runs the floor. Alex McNaught 2. Here's McNaught dropping it into Lovell. 6 seconds on the shot clock as the Nelson Giants are forced to reset. Trathan pulls up from 3-point land. Rebound Tarangi, and he can't keep it in, stepping on the sideline. So the Giants will get the ball under the hoop.
Another solid offensive possession by the Giants, but the Rams defending ably, and as you stated, Ruben Tarangi struggles a little bit to secure it. He is, of course, working himself back into basketball shape. Wondering how, as an announcer, it wasn't too hard to get back into the swing of things after a month of lockdown. Probably a little bit harder for the players.
Yes, I'd imagine so. As Trathan looks to just lob it over to Vukona, but Toby Galuli was 1 page ahead. Double dribble there on Carlisle Smith.
Yeah, double dribble called. But I think on the pass inbounds by Trathan, Mika Vukona didn't go with the quick release. It was a little bit slow coming out of the on ball, and that enabled Galuli, who played excellent defense, so great vision for the steal.
Here's Vukona looking for someone to hand it off to. It's Nick Trathan. He pulls up from the free throw line. Down it goes for Nick Trathan.
You see the space Mika Vukona created with that screen for Trathan. As Trathan gets a steal with the,
And he's fouled Nick Trathan immediately by Ruben Tarangi, and the referees have deemed it an unsportsmanlike foul.
Yeah, unsportsmanlike immediately. Said there was no play for the ball. And, you know, the unsportsmanlike as a concept has been a difficult one for some of the veterans to sort of pick up. Not being able to just foul professionally. Even that one looked like there was a bit of a play on the ball, but still unsportsmanlike.
Well, it used to be, didn't it? Unsportsmanlike almost meant unsportsmanlike, overly
Tackling
hard.
somebody, yes.
Exactly. Whereas now, Ruben Tarangi there, the referee deeming him deliberately fouling to stop a fast break, and that now is unsportsmanlike.
And I appreciate the spirit of the rule. We all want to see free-flowing basketball, and we want to take out some of the international tactics that
we
have
want to
slowed
see
the
the
game
fast
down.
break.
Yeah, we do. But it's also, you know, it is difficult to tell a player that you're just not allowed to foul. It is part of the game, but on we play.
Vukona drew the double team, leading to a 3-pointer for Theo Johnson, but there's a foul under the hoop on the Nelson Giants. The basket does count. Dane Brooks called for a foul under the hoop.
With the push underneath, getting on the glass, and just like that, Nelson Giants back in the ball game. Timeout to the Rams after quite the comeback. The Rams scoring 8 straight to get back into this one. Down just a point.
Well, you called it. Casey Frank, you said you could see the Giants getting themselves back into this one. It's exactly what they've done. Really led by the work off the ball and on the ball of Mika Vukona.
It's almost like we're reasonably familiar with these teams now. But no, I think a lot of it is Mika Vukona, but it's I just think the Giants look the most comfortable they've looked offensively yet. And one thing we noticed when they were playing bad in previous weeks, even when they had Mike Harina, is that when things weren't going well, the body language would drop and you could see them getting disappointed in themselves. But regardless of whether Mika Vakona is up to his 100% in terms of match fitness, his leadership, him being on the court, gives the Giants a level of confidence that they haven't had up to this point. And you can see them feeding off it, and you can see them being able to build back off of mistakes as they did here in the first half.
Official word on Sam Smith is a twisted ankle.
Well,
just no
unfortunate.
other external forces there. He didn't slip. He didn't go over on anyone else's foot. Just rolled over on his ankle as he was running backwards on defense.
No decal or anything else involved in that one. Just, sometimes our body tries to move without our legs, as did for Sam Smith there. Unfortunate. I'm glad to hear it's just a twisted ankle and hopefully nothing too serious.
Here's Galuli running downhill, but Vakona met him there, and the ball ricocheted off Talma. Giants ball.
Well, great block by Mika Vakona, and then forcing the turnover at the same time through a little bit of luck. Always better to be lucky than good.
Norton needs help, and he gets it from Theo Johnson. Just a second or two to get over halfway. They just do, the Giants.
Very close to not getting it across.
Here is McNaught.
Oh, a little warning to Coach McDowner.
Referee blew the whistle. Mika Vakona turned so quickly, thinking that the legal
not
screen
happy
has
about
been
that.
called unjustly. The referee.
And I tell you what, I don't
quickly
like
tells
the
him
stop
he
of
didn't.
play there, because now they only have 10 seconds on the clock when they're within a play. Wait until after the play's dead to warn the coach about what you need to. Don't stop the ball in the middle of the play.
There's Vakona.
What a pass.
Threads the needle, but Toby Galuli is there to swat the ball out of play.
Well, nice cut, Theo Johnson without the basketball. Shows a good catch as well. Mika Vakona being checked out for Mike Carena after he made a beautiful pass that didn't get the assist, but gives him another chance in the baseline with 3 seconds.
McNaught to inbound. Trayton
Nice
with a
play.
nice cut and a finish as well.
Well, he normally just comes off that for a jumper. In this case, he curled around. Carena sets a great screen, and Trayton and McNaught hook up for the layup. First lead of the day for the Giants.
I hesitate before saying the first lead for some weeks for the Giants, potentially, as Alex Talma can't get that to go.
Excellent box out by McNaught underneath on Carlisle Smith.
Brooks skipping athletically into the lane and just dropping it off to Mike Carena, who sinks the jumper from the free throw line.
Well, he loves the mid-range game. He's exceptionally talented at it. Hits that jumper there and stretches the lead to 3.
Here's Tarangi. Steps back. Good defense there from Nick Trayton, but it did not deter Ruben Tarangi.
Well, he is a gifted offensive player. He's a former MVP of this competition. And as you see,
Zane Brooks with the athletic stride and the finger roll finish. He'll go to the line for the three-point play.
and just such a difference for Dane Brooks when he's playing downhill like we saw in that, or when he's a little bit tentative. When it looks like on a soapbox car coming down the hill and has no brakes, I really do think he's a much more dangerous player, has a lot more confidence in himself. The second he gets a little tentative, when he isn't as sure, then that's when the good things tend not to happen for him.
That's a three-point play. And he gives the Giants a 3-point lead with 30 seconds to go in the first half here at Trust Arena. Tarangi just disrupted by McNaught, who's proved himself an able defender at this level against international players despite still being a schoolboy. And here is Tarangi driving, and a foul is called. Mike Carena not happy about it, but Ruben Tarangi will go to the line to shoot 2.
Ruben Tarangi determined with the drive. Nice to see him getting a little bit more of a minutes load tonight as well as he gets more comfortable with the
Partially
playbook.
forced, I guess, by the absence of Taylor Britt.
Well, I personally don't think Coach McDowner would change his minutes plan regardless of who's in or out of the game. He's got to make sure that Tarangi is comfortable with the minutes load and making sure that his body is in the right position to get things done. But it's still nice to see him getting a little bit more game time as he misses both.
4 seconds left. Brooks will get it up. He'll throw it down with Brooks.
Wow!
As the first half
What a
comes to a
finish.
close, a two-handed flush from Dane Brooks to put an exclamation point on a great quarter of basketball for the Nelson Giants. They lead the Canterbury Rams 42-37 here at halftime. That's 10 points for Dane Brooks, who's led the way alongside Nick Trathan points-wise. And we can head over to Mika Vicona, who's with Casey.
And you're just telling me, so I'll ask you, how's it feel out there? You feel in shape?
Yeah, I feel really good, man. Shoot, no, just the lungs are done.
But it must be fun to be out there. It looks like you're having a little bit of fun. Feel pretty comfortable with the basketball in hand and pretty aggressive offensively.
Yeah, I mean, this is what it's all about, right? Just coming out here, having a lot of fun. The boys are just, we've been a bit of a rut, so just trying now, just go out and play and just go on instinct.
Well, don't ice up yet, but get to the locker room, buddy. After that, we got Toby Galuli coming in, and it's a good start for you guys, but the Giants were able to find some fight back. What do you attribute that to?
We're not rebounding. We're not boxing out against too many overboards, so we got to fix that. We're lacking energy right now. So.
And how do you feel the Rams have adjusted to not having Taylor Britt? He's been so important to the offense coming in. Has it been difficult not having him steer the ship?
I mean, obviously not having T is a big thing, but we're next man up. The next guy, we trust the next guy as much as him to make plays. So yeah, that's our mentality going into this.
Cheers, thanks for that. Good luck in the second half.
42-37. The Nelson Giants lead the Canterbury Rams at halftime. More to come after the break.
There's a lot to be said about you Kiwis. You like breaking new ground? You're the best in your field? Stand up for what you believe in. But when it comes to pizza, you can't beat authenticity. Sal's Authentic New York Pizza.
Tukaha.
It means stand strong.
To the great challenges we face.
To stand strong with our brothers and sisters.
With our families and our communities.
With our supporters.
With those who lift us up to take on the world.
It's the name of our haka.
Tāringa whakarongo ki Aomori.
Stand strong.
Stand with us.
Tukaha, New Zealand.
Welcome back to halftime here. 42-37. The Giants lead the Rams. You band in here with Casey Frank. Casey, what do you reckon the message will be from Coach McDowner?
Well, I think they want to find a little bit more consistency offensively. Ruben Tarangi really the only guy driving to the rim. That's why he's got 11 points. But move that ball around. Try and get the defenders that are planted at the rim to get out of there. And obviously you heard the Rams talk about Toby Galuli. We got to rebound the basketball. First and foremost, rebound the basketball and go from there. Conversely, Coach Mike Fitchett, I think, is going to be really pleased with the fight back he saw in the latter half of that second quarter, and is just going to look for consistent offense with which they're playing, because they've been successful with it, and when they finally hit shots down the stretch is when they moved into the lead.
Absolutely. Looking forward for second half of basketball. This game, of course, as with every game over the next 10 days, has some serious ramifications for that finals week, which gets underway on the 28th of July. Tickets on sale now at ticketferry.com. Right now, the Giants are up on the Rams, 42-37. The third quarter to come after the break.
There's a lot to be said about you Kiwis. You like breaking new ground? You're the best in your field? Stand up for what you believe in. But when it comes to pizza, you can't beat authenticity. Sal's Authentic New York Pizza.
The culture of the Tall Ferns is absolutely amazing. We're essentially a family. I would call all of them my sisters. Our leadership, our coaches, our management staff, everyone, there's just such a good feel, and it feels like such a family and such a good vibe, and I think that's why on court you can see that we just all click and work together.
Basketball can open up so many doorways and so many paths. There's no limits. You can take the sport anywhere.
The women's game's definitely growing. I think it's awesome to see. Just in general, basketball growing in New Zealand is cool. So to get women and young girls playing basketball, that's a big key for us.
We're quite often the underdogs, you know, we're always a hustling team, we've always been a real grind it to the end team. Making the most of the moment is like a huge part of our culture.
Any international game that I get to play for the Tall Ferns is always an honour, but we play tough, we're very aggressive, we hustle for each other. Everything we do, we know we're doing for our teammates, that they've got our back, we've got theirs as well.
Young kids, just like in general, I think just whatever you set your mind to, like you can do whatever you want to do, you know? Like you just got to put them in the dedication and the determination to do it, and you can do it.
I think a good message to young girls is kia kaha, kia mai, kia manawa nui. That just really means, you know, be strong, be fierce, and be mindful of others. You know, you've got your teammates next to you, and look after them, look after yourself. And just represent yourself with mana, with pride, as well as your country.
Welcome back to Trust Arena. West Auckland, Waitakere, Tamaki Makaurau. Where two teams from the South Island are going toe-to-toe in the South's NBL showdown. The first half belonging to the Nelson Giants and punctuated by a two-handed flush on the buzzer from Dame Brooks. They lead 42-37 over the Canterbury Rams. Hugh Bain here alongside Casey Frank as the third quarter is just under a minute away.
Yeah, really impressive finish by the Giants to get it up the court that way. And Dame Brooks, always dangerous with his athleticism, took it up to the top floor and finished with strength. Love those kind of highlight reels. And love to see the Giants going with the lead. Of course, it is at the expense of the Rams, who have lost 8 straight coming in. And will be looking to get a little bit of fight back themselves to see if they can't get some momentum going out of this one. But you know, when you look at dangerous teams coming into finals week, I think it would be a shame if both these teams were in the elimination game, because if they're able to get through that first round, I think both these teams with full strength rosters have a real opportunity to do some damage down the stretch.
And they lost that last game by just 1 point. Canterbury Rams on Thursday night to the Otago Nuggets, just 3 points the night before that against the Manawatu Jets, and just 5 points a couple of days before that. So it's been in every contest until the end.
Well, if we're going by that one, we're going to win by 1 today. So they're just incrementally improving by 2 points. So let's see if it does keep going in that respect.
Or if the Nelson Giants will have something to say about that with the return of Big Mike Karena and Mika Vukona.
Just in terms of minutes watched, Mika Vukona played less than 6 minutes in that first half. 4 points to go along with 2 rebounds. I think they might have missed one because I'm pretty sure I saw a couple offensive.
We're back underway in the third quarter. Tyson Aolupatia goes round a Josh Ledger screen and pulls up. Does Aolupatia, but well defended by the Canterbury Rams. And Alex Talbot brings the ball up and is fouled. That's a third personal on Tyson Aolupatia.
And not a good foul. You don't want to use those on the big man dribbling the ball up. He took a little swipe at it, but that's when he would certainly learn to let go as he develops in his point guard capabilities.
Ruben Tarangi brings the ball up for the Canterbury Rams. There's Mason Whitaker into the game to start the third quarter. Salma to Exeter, who shoots from the corner and drains three-pointer.
Well, nice piece of passing there by Alex Talma, who's really developed as Josh Ledger crushes Jack Exeter with a screen. Mick Downer's very upset about it, and out on the court, he's going to get a technical probably. He's been sent back to the bench. Jack Exeter smashed his head right into Josh Ledger. No ill will in that screen. It did look like he leaned into a little bit, but that's just something that you do when somebody's sprinting at you full strength. But I would be surprised to see if this, but concussion is very likely.
Well, Mick Downer is incensed.
Oh, well, it's a physical game. Foul is called on Ledger. I think that was more a reaction to what happened to Exeter because there was no whistle when the contact actually happened. It looks like they might be leaving him in the game. I think would certainly might need to give him a little bit of a breather.
Tough young man, Jack Exeter. They breed him tough down at Rangiora, but doesn't mean he should be left back out there. As Tom Ingham misses the technical free throw. So the foul was called on Josh Ledger, and then a technical foul was called on Coach Mick Downer, who strode onto the court.
Yeah, it's now Tom Ingham asking the same question. You didn't call a foul when it happened. How did that foul come afterwards? Mick Downer influenced the officials with his reaction, cost him a tee, but with no points, and the board gained him a possession. Just hoping Jack Exeter's okay.
Well, inbound the ball, Jack Exeter.
And concussions are nothing to mess around with. I've had coaches ask me after concussions, okay, and of course you're a player, you're going to say yes, but I always like to see it taken out of the hands of the player.
Exeter from the wing misses his first three-pointer since the big screen. Mason Whitaker with a turnaround jumper. Alex Talma can't get it to go, and finally the Nelson Giants get the ball. And Karina running the floor. Big Mike Karina flushes it down with one hand.
Lovely pass by Tom Ingham up in front of everyone. Mike Karina running the floor really nicely for the finish. Jack Exeter's done. He is sits down. Yeah, he should have been taken out, I think, immediately after that happened. And one thing that will happen to you when you get a concussion, you think you're okay, you start moving around, and essentially feels like your brain's moving around in your head without your skull.
Well, it should have been immediately taken out of the game. I agree with you, Casey. As we see in other sports nowadays, HIAs as they're called, and other codes.
And the concussion, reasonably common in basketball, although you don't hear about it quite as much.
Well, that one was a relatively memorable hit, as we see in rugby with lots of concussions and other such codes. Often in basketball, it can be just an elbow on the head coming down from as two players go for a rebound, or hitting the back of the head on your floor if you fall down sharply as well.
Yeah, I've received concussions in basketball games from both those. Well, I do remember one time waking up in an MRI machine in university. Never fun.
Tarangi lobs it over to Webley, who just bullies Nick Trathan out of the way.
Nick Trathan does the full spin. Webley showing the strength, and Ruben Tarangi showing the hands.
He's got a ram to the right, ram to his left. Doesn't need either of them. Does Ruben Tarangi. A timeout called by the Nelson Giants as the Rams tied up at 44 points apiece.
Well, the defense picking up its level of aggression for the Rams. They're getting a little bit more involved, getting their hands in passing lanes, forcing turnovers, and the counterattack is on fast. The Giants need to reassess and just take care of the basketball. When they're not turning it over, everything was going pretty well. But being a little bit careless with the basketball, up to 10 turnovers in the game now.
Well, no Sam Smith, no Jack Exeter for the Rams, likely for the rest of this game.
One thing the Rams do have a lot of is youthful talent on that wing, however. So with Galuli back, with Ruben Tarangi back, with Mason Whitaker off the bench, Ben Carlisle-Smith off the bench, even Quentin Bailey, more of a 4 for them, but he can certainly play the wing. They do have the bodies to make up for it.
Max Stoddard as well shoots the 3. Young 18-year-old.
I see Max Stoddard as a bit more of a 4-man. He does have the ability to shoot the basketball, so I wouldn't see him as a like-for-like replacement for either of those guys on the wing. But where I think it will really affect them is their ability to defend Ingham and Trathan as the game goes along. Those are two guys who would have spent a lot of time on those players. So if those defenders who are handed that responsibility get a little bit fatigued, we could see the wing scoring for the Giants pick up as the half continues.
So Norton Brooks bring the ball out for the Giants. It's Mike Fitchett. Barks out instructions. Mike Kanina gets in position, goes with that running hook of his. Down it goes. He's fouled as well.
Did he grab his ankle there? Yeah. It looked like he might have tweaked his ankle just a little bit on the finish or the land. He has been dealing with an ankle injury and actually missed the last game out for the Giants as he's just warming up that left ankle just a bit, stretching it out, trying to get it up to full strength. But regardless, lovely finish. Uses his quickness against the bigger Tom Webley to get it in.
Here's Ruben Tarangi with McNaught on him. Talma driving in. Good hand from Zeb Lovell. The Giants come the other way with their 3-point lead. Here's Kanina. Moving better on that ankle. As Brooks drives straight into a herd of Rams. And it's young Mason Whitaker who comes up with the basketball. Carlisle Smith drops it into Webley. He's got a size mismatch. Up he goes. Good defense from Zeb Lovell.
Well, great fight by Zeb Lovell. He's given up, 7 inches there? And 30 kgs? I don't know how, but able to do just enough to keep Webley from the bucket.
McNaught takes the contact, pulls up from the baseline. He gets it to go.
First made shot of the game for McNaught. Comes in a nice rhythm dribble down the baseline for the finish. 5-point lead, Giants, their biggest of the game.
Tarangi strides through. Dane Brooks does well to affect the finish, but Tom Webley's there to get the rebound and the foul. He'll go to the line to shoot 2.
Webley with good instincts to stay around and fight for that second possession as you see Mika Vakona in the background checking back into the ball game. See who he's going to come in for. Looks like Zeb Lovell.
So we'll see our first Karena Vakona action for the Giants in the NBL Showdown for 2020.
And, really the Rams, one of the few teams I think who have the mass to fight that two-headed monster, especially with Webley and Talma on the court, two big, strong fellows themselves.
We'll see the Franklin Bulls in action later tonight. Not short of size either. There's Big Sam Timmins, Dominique Kelman-Porto, Joel Vianina.
Dom Kelman-Porto, still want to see him play more perimeter basketball as he makes that transfer up to the wing position from more of a 4.
Vakona just manages to get over halfway for an 8-second violation. Trathan spinning. Can't get it to go, but Brooks comes up with the rebound. Vakona looked for the miracle pass, and it just went through the outstretched arms of Trathan.
Well, it takes a long time to get comfortable with a guy like Mika Vakona, who's always looking to pass it, even when he's got a pretty decent look, as he tells himself he should shoot it. But you always got to be ready if you're cutting and you're a Giant, as Mason Whitaker almost repaid the screen favor.
About 8.5 seconds the Rams took to get that over half court. Here's Galuli. He looks to pass it around the back of Kanina, but Dane Brooks again reading the offense well, getting the interception. Ruben Tarangi just swats that out of bounds.
And Nick Trathan just needs a bit more definitive with that possession. He was caught in between shooting and passing. That if the defender's not going to come out, you just got to let that one fly. If he does, then you've got that extra pass at that point.
Here's Trathan. 6 minutes to go in the third quarter. The Giants lead by 3. Two teams desperate for a win as Karina drives. Can't finish.
Ooh.
And it will be Canterbury Rams ball.
I think the Rams were pretty lucky on that. Looked to me like it might have gone off Tama, but the refs disagree.
Toby Galuli gets Vakona to bite, and then he drives, draws a foul off Mike Karina.
Good use of the up fake as the trailer on that play. Mika Vakona closing out. Still trying to find his game feet as he bites the fake. But Galuli goes to the line after a solid first half offensively. Galuli had 7 points and 4 rebounds at the half. And, of course, he still has that.
Makes his first from the line.
Leading scores for the Giants. Dane Brooks with 12. Then Mike Karina with 8. Trathan with 8. And for the Rams, Ruben Tarangi with 13. And Toby Galuli with 7 now. Sorry, 9.
Here's Vakona looking to add to his tally. Spins, but stripped by Toby Galuli under the hoop. Good defense from Galuli. He'll bring the ball up as well for the Rams. Blows by Theo Johnson into the lane, takes the contact. Then Carlos Smith with the offensive rebound, but his putback doesn't go. And here come the Giants the other way. Trathan to Brooks on the wing for 3. Down it goes for Dane Brooks.
Trathan takes on the double team and finds Dane Brooks on the wing after some nifty dribbling, setting up the 3-point bucket. Look at that show on the screen.
On Tom Cowie. There's Carlisle Smith. Up he goes in the middle of the lane. Nice finish from Ben Carlisle Smith.
Well, it has quite the height advantage on Alex McNaught there. And once he got to the painted area, just rose up for the finish, realizing just that fact.
Theo Johnson hands it off to Brooks. This time he goes to the lane. Just a little too strong on the layup.
Good board, Mason Whitaker in traffic.
Galuli strides through, loses possession, but comes off a Nelson Giant, and it will be Rams ball. Tom Ingham checking into the game.
Dane Brooks going to get a little bit of a blow. Well, Mika Vakona checks out of the game as Josh Ledger checks back in. But quite the difference he's made on the rebounding stats. The Giants are leading the rebounding count by 1 today. First time in a long while that's happened for him.
Trathan tries to keep the ball in, but doesn't.
Shoots the layup anyway.
Gets the layup anyway.
He's a scorer. He's just got to get used to the ball going through. Good hustle, nice hand shown.
Two-point game with 4 minutes to go in the third quarter. Here's Toby Galuli. Drops it off to Tauma. Goes in, hesitates just a little bit too long. And the Giants come away with the ball. Johnson has Trathon to his right. He finds him. Trathon drives back to Johnson, who goes up and gets it to go. He'll go the line for one.
Theo Johnson showing a little bit of the bouncy. Nice pass by Nick Trathon. Finding him last second, dropping it in for Johnson, who elevates for the finish. Wanted the dunk, took the foul, and the end one instead. Chance for the old-fashioned three-point play now. And successful.
$55-50. To Nelson. Here's Quentin Bailey. Of course, two Taranaki lads displaced in this game, with Dane Brooks playing for Nelson and Bailey playing for Canterbury. Here is the Stratford High School product. Can't get it to go. Rebound Ben Carlisle-Smith, who's pushed from behind by Tom Ingham.
Fourth personal foul on Nick Trathon there. Tom Ingham. So just not a lot of game time for him this evening. He's very upset, but easy call there. It's Ben Carlisle-Smith putting some hard work on the glass to secure it, get the foul, and send one of Nelson's more potent scorers back to the bench for the near future at the very least. Wouldn't expect him to come back in until about 4 minutes left in the ballgame.
Carlisle-Smith misses his first from the line. And just gets the second to bounce in. McNaught. And here's Trathon calling the shots. Josh Ledger hands it off to Trathon, who looks to elevate from the free throw line. Almost thought he'd travelled himself and just stopped waiting for a whistle.
Well,
and then
he did travel himself. Even though the ball was hit, he went up with it and came down with it himself. So
there was confusion reigned there for everyone, and then so much so, no one took any notice of the shot clock, which just ran out.
I think Trathon was felt bad about traveling, so he decided not to shoot the open shot after that, even though the shot clock was down about 3 seconds. It was hit as it went out of his hands, but...
There's Webley. Going to work on Josh Ledger. Two youngsters. Foul called on Ledger.
No bucket on that one. The foul called when he's got the two hands into the back of Webley.
Mike Fitchett just letting his young big man know that one forearm is fine, but having both forearms there is going to draw a whistle.
And that's it exactly. You can get away with a lot with one, but once you bring that second hand in, that's an automatic whistle. This one turns out to be a good foul as he missed the first free throw.
Tom Webley is impressed this time so far in the NBL. This is a foul off the ball on Ben Carlisle-Smith.
Well, the ball wasn't in bounds yet. I'm not sure why. Not free throws on that one, but nonetheless.
McNaught is Tarangi on him. Here's Dane Brooks. The Giants look to add to their 3-point lead. Brooks goes around Tarangi and is fouled on his way to the hoop. So he'll go to the line to shoot two.
Just sizes up the defense. A little exploratory bit dribble. Pulls it back, resets, and then attacks the second time through.
You hit the nail on the head, I think, with Dane Brooks' case. He's looked a lot more patient and in control of his game tonight, and it's certainly shown 15 points as he looks to add to those from the free throw line, which he does dutifully. 7 rebounds as well for the former Mountaineer.
And this is, a younger man. I think he's around 24 now, but he hasn't played anywhere else other than Taranaki. And not very familiar with the guys he's playing with, and it will take him a little bit more time than some to get used to a new situation as Trathan gets caught with his hand in the cookie jar. And we'll send Tom Cowie to the line. And TC gets a chance at the free throw line.
Some luminaries in the building tonight. Casey, Dan Shamir, Breakers Director of Basketball, here with his young family. Rob Lowe and Jared Weeks here on a double date with their wives.
Oh, yeah. That's good for them. Also nice to see Dan Shamir here, checking out the talent. Don't know if he's got any spots to sign anybody else, but he has been busy getting signatures on the line for the Breakers in the last wee while.
Here's Ledger, who hands it off to Nick Trathan.
Beautiful.
Skips into the lane,
Ooh.
but Josh Ledger will go the line to shoot two.
Josh Ledger hurried himself on that finish. Really nice two-man play, two-man basketball between Trathan and Ledger off the on-ball. Trathan with the pull-up and the drop-off pass. Ledger, he's got the athleticism to go up and try and bang that one. I'd like to see that instead of the touch finish on the layup, which he didn't show a lot of touch on the finish. And surprising because he has him, but he does miss the first free throw. Looks like we already have some Franklin Bulls fans in the crowd for game 2. It's a ways away. Franklin Bulls, probably the team that's been pulling the most fans, and considering their fan base is a good hour away from here, that's pretty impressive. Trathan, good hustle. Well, Dane Brooks does the work on Ruben Tarangi to force him to drop the ball, and then Nick Trathan with the hustle, almost saving it to keep it in bounds. But all the hustle for nothing. Timeout to the Rams as they look to discuss things.
They trail by 5 with exactly 2 minutes to go in the third quarter here. In the first game at Trust Arena of Saturday Night Hoops in the NBL Showdown. Week 4 drawing to an end this weekend. 2 to go after that.
Let's just toss in an extra week in there. Or 3. More games.
Of course, early in September, Casey, the National 3x3 Cup announced on Friday by Basketball New Zealand, featuring 10 men's teams and 10 women's teams as well. Should be a great festival of basketball down in Invercargill.
And a really interesting format with 9 teams that'll be in every year, and the 10th team as an invitational, by invitation that is, each and every season. And an aspect of the game that is really exploding internationally here in New Zealand. It's certainly always been popular on the playgrounds and in schools, playing a little bit 3-on-3. But you know, what a great chance for some young athletes from New Zealand and around the world to maybe get into the Olympics, as it is an Olympic sport now.
It's just another pathway, isn't it, for basketballers?
I really do feel like 3-on-3, 3x3 in particular, is going to become its own form of the game. I don't know, as it moves forward, how much crossover you're going to see between the two codes. I think it's at some point you're going to, especially if it becomes that much more popular and there's going to be professional or semi-professional teams added, its own qualification in the Olympics, I think it may eventually be something to specialize in, which is even better. As you said, just another pathway for athletes to get somewhere.
In a similar vein to Rugby Sevens, potentially, as Tom Webley is deterred from the hoop, so instead finds Max Stoddard. He can't go, and it's going to be Nelson Giants' possession. They lead by 5 with 1:40 to go in the third quarter. Here's Ledger. Finds Johnson, who in turn finds McNaught. He pulls up from the elbow and drains the two-pointer, Alex McNaught.
Looked really nice when he took that shot in rhythm. Some of the others, he looked a little bit like he's forcing it mentally, but that one was thinking shot the whole time, and you could see it in the result.
There's Tarangi. Shoots the 3 over Josh Ledger. Too strong though from Ruben Tarangi. Tom Cowie looks to keep it in. Shot clock violation, though.
Well, decent switch by Josh Ledger. Played off the ball and gave up that jumper to Tarangi, which normally is a mistake, but this time Tarangi couldn't find the range, so it turned into excellent defense.
There's Ledger. He hands it off to Dane Brooks. Up goes Dane Brooks. Finishes off the backboard.
Really surveyed that defense nicely. When Webley didn't commit, he knew he had the layup. Speaking of, Ruben Tarangi brings it right down. Defenders don't step up until it's too late, and he gets himself a layup to cut it to 7.
Just over 30 seconds to go. As Theo Johnson turns the corner, drops it off to Ledger, who just can't keep the ball under control, and he needs it out of bounds. And with 27 seconds on the clock, the Rams will have possession.
Well, good thought. That was really nice, unselfish play by the Giants as Lovell gets the steal.
Drops off to Brooks, who goes up, takes the contact, and finishes. No foul called.
Nice athleticism. Good defense by Tom Cowie to contest without fouling, but not enough defensive resistance to force the miss.
It's Stoddard finding Webley. 6 seconds to go, and almost another steal. Here's Webley. 2 up, puts it up for Stoddard, who just gets it to drop in on the buzzer. 64-57, the Nelson Giants lead the Canterbury Rams with 10 minutes to go. 3-quarter time, the 4th quarter coming up here from Trust Arena after the break.
Hi, I'm Dave Meltzer, co-founder of Sports One Marketing, and I've teamed with one of the biggest sports agents in the world, Bruce Tollner, and we are going to put on a series of how to have a career in sports. Join me at trainedbymiyagi.com.
McDonough talking to the Canterbury Rams. Can they turn this deficit around? They trail 64-57.
Well, I think they clawed it back and had a little bit of momentum going at the end as we saw a very nice move by Tom Webley under pressure to deliver the lob pass to cut it from a 9-point deficit. But this is the most confident we've seen the Giants playing in some weeks. They were vastly missing the presence of Mika Vakona as a leader. And then, of course, their last game out, no Mike Carena as well. And this young team, the Rams, already without Taylor Britt, lost Sam Smith early, lost Jack Exeter as well to what looks like possibly concussion. Bringing back Toby Galuli, Ruben Tarangi. But right now, looking a little less cohesive than the Rams team we've seen for the majority of the season.
Ruben Tarangi should tick over 19 minutes of action so far tonight as he starts the 4th quarter, and as does Mika Vakona and Mike Carena for the Nelson Giants. Tom Cowley tries to draw a foul and does just that.
Alex McNaught is the type of defender that you can bait into those type of fouls. He's always going to be very aggressive. Just over 20 minutes for him now.
Here's Cowie. No Taylor Britt, of course, for the Canterbury Rams, who have also lost Jack Exeter and Sam Smith throughout the course of this game. 3 seconds on the shot clock. Cowie has to shoot. Instead, it's stripped by Alex McNaught, and a foul is called.
Oh, my.
Much to the consternation of the Nelson Giants bench.
I don't know about that one. That looked like the most legal of thefts on a basketball court. He saw that and snatched it right out of his hands. I think the angle the official had might have made that look like more of a foul than it actually was, because that's about as clean as you can get, dipping your hand in and out of the pot.
Moppet goes to work as Mika Vakona just has a few words for young Max Stoddard. Here's Galuli driving on Vicona, who gets the rebound after some good defense. He's got Mike Clean on his right, Dane Brooks on his left. Brooks does well to corral the pass.
Might have got away with a bit of a travel there.
Gets the Vicona screen, goes up with a floater.
Well, you spoke about it earlier, patience. He was very patient. Didn't force it, took his time, brought it back out, then attacked when he thought he had the advantage.
Tarangi draws a foul off Zeb Lovell. The basket won't count. It'll be a baseline inbounds as Mason Whitaker comes into the game for Tom Cowie.
Foul called on the drive.
Sideline inbounds, excuse me.
Already the third team foul on the Giants here with over 9 minutes to go. So you'd expect the Rams to be shooting free throws early in this quarter.
Webley up with the right hand off the back iron. Vicona just nudges the rebound to Alex McNaught. Here's Dane Brooks. Drops it off to Vicona. Steps through on Webley and gets the right hand to go.
Mika Vicona showing the footwork, taking his time. Doesn't have the athleticism he might have had as a younger man, but has the smarts to know how to get that shot off.
There's Whitaker. He shoots over McNaught. That doesn't drop. 11-point lead. This game in danger of getting away from the Canterbury Rams. Still plenty of time though, as Tarangi just pops the ball out of bounds.
And Ruben Tarangi has been excellent defensively today. He's been hit hands and passing lanes all over the place, really. Making those entry passes extremely difficult. He's been active as a rebounder. Of course, he is the leading scorer for the Rams with 15 points to go along with 3 rebounds and assists, 2 steals. But I think he's had his hands to a lot more balls than that.
Oh, good block there from Toby Galuli, who came flying in from the weak side.
I really read that one early. If Mike Carena had been a little bit more hesitant but put up the shot, I think Galuli would have flown by. But because of the perfect timing Galuli had on that spin move, he sent that one out of bounds.
Here's Carena. Drives in, up on the right hand over. Talma and off the glass.
Not an easy shot off the glass with that runner. Mike Carena taking his time down low with a big finish. Now into double figures with 11.
And that'll be Nelson Giants ball.
Timeout to the Canterbury Rams now. I don't think Coach McDowner likes what he sees offensively. With 8 minutes left and down 13, you have to execute at a higher level than what is currently being given.
Tough to do, of course, without Taylor Britt, Sam Smith and Jack Exeter. All out for the Canterbury Rams, going up against a rejuvenated Nelson Giants side, buoyed by the additions of Mike Carena and the legendary Mika Vicona. And by Dane Brooks' performance tonight. 23 points for Brooks, 9 of 15 from the field to go with 7 rebounds, a couple of assists as well.
It's his shot selection that I think has been really good, though. He's only taken the 2 threes, made one of those, but of the 13 shots within the paint, I would suspect the majority, if not all of those, were on the rim. He's put a lot of pressure with the dribble, putting it on the deck, attacking the rim, forcing these Rams defenders to keep him out of the paint. And up to this point, that has been a difficult task indeed.
$70 points to 57. Mika Vicona still out there for the Giants. He's played nearly 11 minutes, has yet to miss from the field. 6 points and 3 shots, 3 rebounds, a couple of assists and a couple of blocks as well.
I'd expect Mika Vicona to finish around 15 minutes in this one. I think that seems about right for a guy getting himself back into the swing of things.
Here's McNaught finding Lovell. Drops it into Vicona, who spins baseline on Max Stoddard. Up he goes, and that one just rolls in on the shot clock buzzer.
Well, excellent awareness as Mike Carena defends Alex Talma and deflects the inbound, but Mika Vakona just taking his time in the post, goes with the spin move to get around it. And shows that soft touch once again. 8 points for him in limited activity. We've just been informed by the NBL that the Josh Ledger screen is under review by the NBL review panel. I hope nothing comes out of that one because it looked pretty legal to me. Or at least not in any kind of distaste.
Nothing malicious. As Alex Menard shows nothing but disdain for the Canterbury Rams defense with a 3 from the corner.
Showing some confidence in the jumper after refusing a few early as Toby Galuli loses it. And the Giants running downhill now, feeling a little bit of the momentum in their favor for the first time in a long while.
There is the impressive McNaught who finds Dane Brooks. Carino with Tarangi on him. He pulls up from mid-range off the front iron. Rebound, Tarangi. Here's Alex Talma. Max Stoddard drops it into Talma, and that's a foul on the floor on Dane Brooks as he tried to reckon with all the muscles that Alex Talma has.
You reckon? Yeah, he could call that one. Get the foul nice and early before he gets into that shooting motion.
Wakona takes a seat.
6 minutes left. I think if the Rams pull it back in, I think Mika Vakona's got a couple minutes left in him. But if they don't, I think he'll be happy to take an extended rest.
8 points, 4 for 4 from the field for the Tall Blacks captain. Carlisle Smith finds Tom Cowie.
Of course, Tom Ingham in the game has to be very careful with his 4 fouls.
Here is Cowie. 2 on the shot clock. Finds Talma. Has to go up to take Talma. Not in time. And that basket won't count. Shot clock violation.
Yeah,
we've seen a few of those tonight.
Well, both teams have been very patient offensively. I think for the Rams probably has to do with not having their best playmaker and scorer and Taylor Britt. So it's slowed things down, made it a little bit harder to get things done.
McNaught trapped at half court. And Tom Ingham patiently waits for the defense to disperse. And the Giants are back underway with 7 seconds to go. Josh Ledger from the wing for 3. Too strong. Rebound Quinton Bailey. Cowie to Ben Carlisle Smith. He spins to the side of the key and is fouled by Tom Ingham. And that is Tom Ingham's 5th foul as he makes his way angrily to the bench.
In terms of his reaction to the call, I can see why. It looked like reasonable defense, not a lot of contact, and certainly a level of contact that's consistent on a lot of the plays as Mike Fitchett and Tom Ingham really worked to get that 5 in the background of that shot, struggling.
That's the third time lucky.
That might have been the whitest high five we've seen in quite some time between those two. Not a lot of rhythm going, but regardless, Dane Brooks checks back into the ball game. If Tom Ingham's night ends early, just 13 minutes for him for the 7 points.
Brooks, meanwhile, has logged over 28 for his 23 points.
Only 2 scores in double figures for the Giants. Karina, 11, backing up Dane Brooks, and only 1 double-figure score for the Rams. And, of course, Ruben Tarangi, 15 points in 22 minutes on 6 for 11 from the field.
Makes a second to spend Carlisle Smith as the Giants need an inbounder. Here is Dane Brooks and Alex McNaught. They bring the ball up for the Giants. Five seconds on the shot clock. Brooks, 1 on the clock, shoots over Talma. Good hand from Talma, good defense from the Canterbury Rams, and they'll get possession.
Well, Alex Talma on that switch, really moving his feet nicely and challenging the pull-up by Dane Brooks. Getting a piece of it as well to force the miss.
Nick Trathan nearly with the intercept. And he gets back well on defense. Here's Ben Carlisle-Smith. And that is a travel from Quentin Bailey. Not much going right for the Rams in this fourth quarter, in this second half, really.
Well, and not much will go right for your offense when you turn down open looks. Quentin Bailey comes off for that catch. It was a 17-footer, so maybe not exactly where he wanted, but a wide open look. You're working so hard to get anything going on the offensive end. You got to take those shots when they come.
Johnson drives, well defended. Block to one of Bailey or Whitaker. Carlisle-Smith almost loses the ball, regains it, but Josh Ledger says no. McNaught just about keeps it in, but only as far as Nick Trathan.
Who wants it? Hot potato. Anybody can grab it. Okay, the Giants will keep it for a while.
They lead by 16. Here's Trathan. Good hand from Ben Carlisle-Smith, who lays out. Here's Ledger going to work. This one's stripped by Quentin Bailey. Ben Carlisle-Smith in the open court, but the pass isn't good enough for Tom Cowie. Just disjointed performance we're seeing here, I think.
Everybody take a breath. Calm down. It goes back to what the great John Wooden used to instill in his players. Be quick, but not in a hurry. And what you saw there by both teams is they're rushed. They're trying to be fast, but you can't be fast. You just need to be as quick as you can possibly go, but never rushed.
It's a young group out on the court for both teams as Trathan shoots from the wing. Theo Johnson had a wide open rebound.
Young group out on the court for both teams. I think we could just paste and repeat for every team almost at all times.
True. Carlisle-Smith for three. Doesn't go. Rebound Trathan. Canterbury Rams back in action tomorrow night against the Nelson Giants back in action tomorrow night against the Auckland Huskies. The Rams back in action on Wednesday against the Auckland Huskies.
Josh Ledger just beasting down Ben Carlisle-Smith. Did all the work, but didn't get the finish after the shot went off. Looked like Ben Carlisle-Smith got him in the face with an elbow, so I'm not sure if that's going to be on the shot or afterwards. I think it might be on the baseline. Yeah, and that is correct. So it was after the shot was taken. Fourth foul on Ben Carlisle-Smith.
Tyson Iolupatia only played 12 and a half minutes as 18-year-old point guard. Here he is, finding Theo Johnson in the corner. Rebound goes out of bounds, and it will be Nelson Giants' ball.
Well, surprising, since it looked like Josh Ledger might have hit that one right out of bounds after he cleared some space. But the Giants, as all teams are, happy to take possession.
As Toby Galuli checks back in. 21 minutes for him so far. Good to see him getting back to his normal minute load.
Going to be a very tough, disciplined, and dangerous team, the Rams, if they're able to get everybody back before the end of next week.
Johnson skipping through. Finds Dane Brooks, who shoots with 6 on the shot clock from 3 and rattles in. What a night for Dane Brooks that's been so far.
He has been excellent. 26 points for him now as he stretches the lead to 19.
Galuli steps into a 3. Off the back iron. Rebound. Nick Trathan does well, but it will be the Rams' ball. Cowie fires it over to Galuli. Ben Carlisle-Smith for 3. Too strong. Straight into the hands of Bailey, who can't get it to go, and eventually the Giants come away with it. Theo Johnson looking to drop it down low to Trathan. He does, and Trathan can't finish. 78-59, just under 2.5 to go in the first game of Saturday night action. Week 4 of the South NBL Showdown.
Oh, nice play, Trathan. He's been really active defensively today. In the passing lanes, a bit more aggressive than we've seen from him up to this point. Defensively, and I think it helps when he's got the big fellas behind him, Karina and Mika Vakona, a little bit more confidence in that back line of defenders.
Well, Casey, as I said at the start, this is a 6v7 battle. If the playoffs started today, this would be the first game where the loser would go home.
Yep.
course, there's still enough time for both these teams to get out of that first game.
Yep.
But right now, would you want to be playing a Nelson Giants team come finals week with Mika Vicona, who by then would have had a few games under his belt, Mike Kadina as well coming back from an injury, Dane Brooks in the form he's been in tonight?
Well, I mean, who do you want to see, really? Because if all these teams are at full strength, I think then you're looking at styles. And then Nelson probably is going to be one of the more deliberate teams once they get going. So if you're a half-court team like the Bulls are, you probably don't want to see a team like that, where if you're an up-and-down team like the Mountaineers, you might feel a little bit more confident going against a style that's a bit slower. But in terms of talent level of who can get it done, it's really anybody's game, as the Giants sub out most of the starters and go with a lot of the Thane O'Leary's checking in, getting a little bit of go.
Tommy Gargiulo as well out there. Toby Galuli drives and is fouled. He'll go line to shoot too. Well, another team. You're right. You are 100% right, Casey. But with this Canterbury Rams team, if they can get to 100%, to have Taylor Britt and Ruben Tarangi out there alongside Toby Galuli. The way Tom Webley's played in patches as well, that's a very talented young team.
Definitely. I think, the talent level is all very even, as we see Jordan Nantai on the bike. If I'm the Giants, I'm saying you don't get to use this yet. It's our bike until the end of the game.
That huge dunk the other night to Jordan Nantai.
Let's see some more of those, Jay Nantai. Come on, buddy.
Made its way around the world on social media. The rest of the world starved of basketball. It's a foul. Mike Fitchett using these last few minutes as a real lesson for some of his younger players.
Kick that thing ahead. Get it moving. Always want to go with it.
Inbounds is Iolupatia. He's in the lane, tries to get it up. Good hand from Carlisle Smith.
Carlisle Smith, a lot of potential as a wing. He's got good size and nice athleticism.
Oh, nice move from Mason Whitaker. Finishes off the glass.
And Mason Whitaker is another young player I'd like to see more of. I think as he develops his perimeter skills with his size at 6'9", he could be very dangerous and has a lot of career in front of him.
Thane O'Leary's fouled on the floor by Toby Galuli.
Mason Whitaker, I believe, might have been the first game of the year that was his best game. Since then, his playing time is a bit inconsistent. 13 minutes this evening.
Well, he came in, of course, unknown to most of these coaches and defenders, and with the length he has, no one expected him to come and shoot the lights out from three-point land, which is exactly what he did the first week of the competition as the Rams went 3-0.
It's always frustrating when you're 6'4" and you see a 6'9" guy come out, and all of a sudden he starts bombing triples as well. But he's got the look of a guy who can develop some excellent perimeter skills.
O'Leary swamped by Rams. Oh, he splits through them, though. Here's Gargiulo.
Only 5 on the shot clock.
But Nort has to shoot, and it is from three-point land off the front iron. Rebound, Ben Carlisle Smith. He's got Galuli to his left. He's in double figures. Rebound, good one too by Max Stoddard. Under a minute to go in this one. Here's Whitaker for three. Too strong on that one. And it goes out of bounds off the feet of Stoddard.
Well, just counting down as the Nelson Giants are going to get back on the winning side. We knew one of these teams was going to get out of the bottom, tied for bottom spot at 3-8. And the Giants did the work. The triumphant return of Mika Vicona to the Giants lineup.
O'Leary with the nice move, and he gets it to go.
With
the bench
shimmy.
Loves it.
They do. There's nothing like seeing a big fella showing a little bit of swiftness and agility. The shoulder shake gets him the bucket.
Carlisle Smith down the lane. Nice pass to Whitaker.
Beautiful pass by Carlisle Smith. Solid finish.
Both teams still going at it with 25 seconds to go. The win will belong to the Nelson Giants, though, who will improve to 4-7. Gargiulo, Matt McNaught to put an exclamation point on it for the Giants.
And that'll be just about all we did. Great fight by the Giants to get back into things. And, of course, the Rams, the schneid continues. Unfortunate for them, 9th loss in a row.
Well, there's a 9th loss in a row for the Canterbury Rams, but a first win in 5 for the Nelson Giants. And a victorious return to the New Zealand NBL for Mika Vukona, the Tall Blacks captain. 153 tests to his name in his 20th year in the league. It was a belated start, but it was a winning one as he helps the Nelson Giants get back to victorious ways. They've beaten the Canterbury Rams 78-64. 80-64, I should say, sorry, as we go over to Casey Frank, who's got Dane Brooks.
And I am here with Dane Brooks, who had an excellent game, 23 points, shooting the ball pretty well, but found a lot of success to drive into the cup. Of course, he had that big bang at the end of the first half, gave you guys a lot of momentum.
Yeah, boys just looking to get on track tonight. You know, we've had a few rough games. Canterbury have a few rough games. We're starting to get some boys back, and they're starting to lose some players, so it's a good margin we won by, but at the end of the day, they were underpowered as well, so we got to look to improve on that.
Well, it must have been nice to welcome back Mika Vukona and Mike Karena. Having the big boys behind you makes everything else a little bit easier.
Yeah, Mika's game fitness isn't quite there, but him just being on the court, honestly, just changes the entire mood of the team. We're flowing much better, we're playing offense, defense is much better. He's telling everyone what to do, he's letting them know, and that's what we need.
Well, it worked very well for tonight. Thank you very much for your time, Dane. As Ruben Tarangi come in from the losing side. Tough game for you guys. Look like you're still struggling a little bit to get some mass fidgets, but it looks like the touch is still there.
Yeah, coming along. Couple injuries, but I think the boys will be all right. They play hard.
Lost a couple of injuries during the game. I mean, certainly not what you guys need now. You can share anything about what's happening with Exeter Sam Smith, or are you aware of that in the slightest?
I think he just tweaked it, so we're just resting him, and then he'll be back next week.
And then looking forward, once you get Taylor Britt back, what do you think the potential is of this Canterbury Rams team? You think you guys got enough to win it?
Yeah, definitely. I think we need to understand the offenses a little bit better, but I think we'll be good. The boys play hard and always give us a chance.
Do you not understand the offense? Yeah, you've been there for almost like 4 days now, bro.
Nah, I do.
No, thanks for your time, Ruben. Good luck in the next one. And finishing up, we got Nick Trathan coming in. Nick, normally you're a scorer out there, but today you were real active defensively all over those passing lanes.
Yeah, I mean, coach has given me a role coming off the bench, and my role is to come in and show a bit of intensity, both on offense and defensively. So, I just had to go out there today and work my ass off and feel like I've done that.
And looking at the way the Giants are, it's great to get that win, but you can really see the way that the mood changed for the team. Welcome Mika back, welcome Mike Karena back.
Oh, mate. Excuse me, but shit, it's nice to have him back, eh? Yeah, what we missed as a team, he is probably the best in the country at. So, yeah, awesome to have him back on the court.
And then, moving forward, you think now is the time that Nelson's going to take that step forward? Look, the best you looked offensively and defensively today. I'm sure it's just going to build from here.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, we're on the way up for sure.
Thanks for your time, Nick. Appreciate it. Nice win.
Certainly was a nice win for the Nelson Giants. They've beaten the Canterbury Rams 80-64. On the return of Mika Vukona and Mike Karena to the side. Coming up at 7:30, the Otago Nuggets and the Franklin Bulls. We'll see you then.